Greeting, fellow programmers. This is Pavel, and this is part 6 of the Knights Tour program. And now we are finally creating the logic, the if statement, to determine whether the move can be performed, whether the knight can perform the move. So, what do we need to check? Well, we need to check the boundaries of the chessboard, or the chessboard itself. Make sure we're not trying to move outside of the boundaries. And we need to check whether the knight was already in the position it's trying to get to, because we are supposed to move only to the next available position. We're not supposed to step on the same square that we already were in. So if, and it's gonna take 3 of these parentheses. So if h move is less than row, remember row holds the basically the grid itself. So if the row is 8, the h move has to be less than 8. If we cannot go to square number 9 because there is none, so it has to be less than a row. And at the same time, the h move has to be greater or equal to 0, because again we are moving on a chessboard. So if we move to the first position, in this case it's gonna be 0, we cannot go to a -1. We cannot go too much to the left, because we would go to a square number -1. There is no such thing. So that's the first thing that we check, these two. After that, or with it, what has to be true is the same for v move. If v move is less than, but not rows but columns, and the v move is greater or equal to 0, because even though we go down, so we want to make sure that we stay within the number of rows or columns, which is in this case 8. We also want to make sure we don't go up too high, because we can only go to a 0. Again, we cannot go to a square number -1 in neither direction, whether it's left or right or up or down. So we have these, and also what needs to be true is that our moves of the h move, the coordinates h move and v move, were not occupied before. In other words, they do not equal to move symbol. If they do, that means that the square was already occupied before and we cannot go there. So if this is all true, then we're good and we can move. Let me check these parentheses again. There's something not right, or so it would seem. This one's this. This one's this. No, it's greater or equal to. I had it reversed. Alright, so if all of this is true, if we can go up or down or left or right, and it was not the we were not on that square before, we can perform the move. So we will simply assign the moves, the new h move, v move coordinates, and we will assign it the move symbol, which in this case, in our case, would be x. That's what we actually check in here. We check in whether that move before we make the move, we check whether the particular index holds a character x. If it does, then we know that we cannot go there. So, but if all these conditions are true, then we can make the move. So we will create a move symbol, and our start position of 0 now equals to our h move, because we have a new start position for the next move. Obviously we are moving to a different spot, so that's our new start position. And start position 1 will now equal the v move. So this is if it is true, we can do that. If it is not, if we cannot perform that, so we will check if the move is already in bad moves. If it is, it means it was already made, so do not add it anymore. And what I mean by that, we have the array of bad moves. This way we can check whether we already tried to make that move, because remember we have 8 possible moves, but we can try to make, this is all random, so a random number can be generated, can generate the same move more than once. So that's what we are checking here. Was it already generated? If it was, then don't count this one. We already tried it before, it didn't work, but just move to the next one. If it was not generated, it means we can add it to our bad moves array. And remember, we are checking over here the bad move counter and check if we tried 8 valid moves, not repeated moves. We only tried the 8 available or possible moves, which are, if you remember over here, which are these, or basically the arrays over here. So we are checking whether all of them were already tried. If they were, no more moves are possible. But we have to make sure that we are not repeating the moves. I mean, we cannot prevent that, but we cannot count those as valid moves, or because we already tried that move before, meaning we still have the same number of available moves as we had before this move that we just tried to make. All right, so what do we do? Well, I'll just create a boolean move already made. I'll just initialize it to false, and I'll do for integer I equals 0, I is less than 8, and I++, the classic loops that we did so many times here. And we will do if random move equals bad moves. Basically, we are scanning through the array, through all 8 elements. So if it equals the bad moves, then we have the move already made equals true. We already tried it before. All right, so and over here we will simply go after we tried. We will do if not move already made. In other words, if the move was not made, just add it to the bad moves array, and the coordinates for that would be the ones that we try to make. So are gonna be the bad move counter, because we are going to be increasing the counter now, equals random move that we try to make, and bad move counter we will increase after each new bad move was made. We will increase the bad move counter. So again, we check whether the move was already made. If it was, just return true, it was already made, and forget it, and try another one. And if it wasn't made, add it to the bad moves. Basically, remember we have -1s over here, and we just add, if this is a move, the first bad move, we will simply replace -1 with the random move, with the number that we tried to make as a move, which is over here. Let's say the generated number was 4, so we now index 0 of the bad moves will equal 4. In other words, we try to make the move of 4 and it didn't work. Okay, so that's the that's how we get the bad moves, or basically get any move, and these are the checks that we have to make in order to determine whether the move is possible or not. And in the next video we will start coding some main method and start calling these functionality or these methods to actually run the program. So stick around and I'll see you in the next video. Take care.